Thank you, everyone. I'm really excited to be here. And okay, I'm PowerPoint. I'm going to start with some visuals. And before I start, how many of you are educators? Could you raise your hand? Yes, we want to change the world. Technology won't change the world in education. We will change the world with the aid of technology, which is different. You ever tried Vegemite before? Do you ever seen that brand? Okay. I encourage you to try. I'm giving away my age. Do you remember that band from the 80s? Or maybe it was not really popular here. Yes, good, thank you. Beautiful sunny Sydney. Kangaroos? Best surfing in the world? Australia. This is my home now, and I've been there for 20 years, and I'm really grateful to live in such a wonderful country. But my heart is Peruvian, and my dad is an Inca. Well, he looks like an Inca. It's his birthday today. He's getting 85 years old. And I want to say, I love you, Dad. Pity that he's not in Norway, otherwise he will be here. Okay, let's see, go down to business and see what is learner-generated digital media, LGDM.
Congratulations!
That's me, sorry.
You will be creating digital media as a part of your learning experience. You might be wondering why you need to learn to produce digital media. Well, the answer is very simple. Technology has reshaped the way we socialize, learn, shop, share, collaborate, and you have an important role in the 21st century as a digital citizen. Whether you develop an audio podcast, blog, poster, brochure, digital story, video, or blended media, you need to be aware of the basic principles that will help you to communicate with your audience. These principles are known as the digital media principles. Some examples are layout design, color theory, typography, use of images, and basic video techniques. You could see its applications everywhere you go, on a bus stop, at the label of your favorite food, on your mobile phone or tablet, at the movies, on book covers, everywhere. Producing digital media in your course will help you to learn the subject content, but also master these digital media principles that are considered the grammar of the 21st century. Digital media for learning will give you practical skills such as time management, critical and problem-solving skills, research skills, teamwork, collaboration skills, conflict resolution, and understanding of diversity. You will be able to use your creativity and become co-creator of knowledge, helping other students just like you to learn with the digital content that you will develop. I am so excited to work together, and I tell you what, you must be too. We will have fun while we are learning the subject content and representing knowledge in various ways, such as using images, sounds, animations, and video. Adios.
There you go. I say to my students, too good to be true, right? It sounds really fantastic, you know? So everything has been informed by research, by my own research, right? And we're going to talk about digital, what are the facts about digital media as an assessment tool. We already know that it's a digital artifact developed by students to showcase their learning, right? It starts in 2000 in the field of education, but it's in embryonic stages. But why? What do you mean with embryonic stages? It means that it's not really a solid, evidence-based research that proves that it's wonderful. All the research has been done using a qualitative approach, interviews, which is fine, but if you're talking to scientists, they are not convinced about qualitative approaches because they don't understand qualitative research. I used to be a scientist, now I'm an educator, and my approach is mixed methods. We don't train the students about digital media. How fair it is to ask the students to produce a video and to mark on the quality of that video, first, if we don't teach them the video principles. Second, if we don't know the video principles. That's unfair. The way the students learn with digital media has been speculated, but it's not really well known. In terms of creating digital media, right? Because with multimedia, we know for the last 30 years how we learn with multimedia. So, in learning processes with digital media, we have to create an effective digital media product where it's an animation, an audio podcast, a video. So you need to create a storyboard. I could give you my phone now and ask you, can you sort of create a video within the next hour that showcase about diabetes? I'm sure that no one will accomplish that task because you need a storyboard. And a storyboard requires time, also knowledge in the field, and sort of the students, they need to engage with the library, with journal papers, with books, and so on. So this is the first step of the learning. The next step is representing that storyboard using a multimodality. As educators, we are aware what it means, multimodality, but for the ones that they don't know, it's about representing knowledge in various ways, like using text, using images, using videos, animations, and so on. The next step is the production phase, which is the reinforce. The students, when they need to produce, for example, an animation to explaining how a chemical works in the brain, they will need to do it again and again and again because digital media production is an iterative process. If anyone here has experience producing video, you know that you need to take one take, another take, and another take. So in that phase or stage, students really reinforce their learning. So what I'm saying, we have qualitative data, but also quantitative, that showcase that the students really get the knowledge, stick in their brains when they engage into this whole process producing digital media. Challenges, well, too many. First, the students are more used to writing assignments, right? This is really clear. Educators, we don't really have the skills on digital media production. Some of us might have, but average educators, not really, unless you have a background in graphic design, visual design, filming, and so on. Group work is really challenging too as well. That's the most difficult part. Students' understanding of digital media principles and digital media production. We used to think as educators that the students know more about us than us about technology, but this is not sure, not real, because Prensky, many of you know Prensky in 2001, he came out with these digital natives, which is a myth now, because in 2016, Alexander in the United States, in a large study, shows that the problem is not owning technology. The problem is the fluency to use the technology to produce digital media. Copyright, oof, that's a really big thing too as well. So for some people in the media industry, copyright did not evolve according to technology. This can be a really big challenge because the students, they could go online and pick up content that is copyright and present it as their content. So also, this is a potential problem that is called a microsite. One of those is called Fiverr. And what it is a website that you can go there and you say, I need to produce an animation about how the brain works. You put your proposal there, and you get people quoting from all over the world. For $20, 30 Australian dollars, you can get an amazing product. So this will be considered academic misconduct, right? So that could be a potential problem. I didn't spot any case with my students the last 3 years, but need to be always looking. Well, this is obvious. Where are the gaps in digital media for learning? The concept of digital literacy, I will call digital literacies, plural, right? We can discuss the whole day, if you would like to, about digital literacies. Means different things to different people, right? So that's problematic too as well. Professors, we're talking about higher education, right? Understanding of digital media production and digital media principles. To publish my frameworks, because we developed 5 frameworks to guide the implementation of digital media in the classroom, it took us forever to try to publish because the scholars will not understand the concept behind. So a systematic approach as well. When you look at the research in LGDM, so there is not such a systematic approach. It's all guesswork. You just go to your classroom and say, guys, I want you to produce an animation. It's going to be about this. Good luck. There is not any systematic approach. Rubrics are so important. How are you going to mark a digital media artifact if we don't understand the principles behind? It is about the content. Yes, it is about the content. But it's also about how you present the content. Because if the content is poorly presented, it's not going to engage anyone. We need to foster in our students communication skills in the digital space. And for that to happen means that we need to teach the basic principles to produce video. If students don't understand these digital media principles, this is an example, a little bit of color theory, right? There is not such a framework to guide us as educators to produce digital media for learning. But I got good news for you guys. So we developed this framework, which is student-centered, and starting with explaining to the students, why do you need to learn this way? So, especially in my case, because I teach science students, right? Higher education. We need to talk about how technology has reshaped our practices and why it's important to them to learn the tools and the principles. How do they create the digital media projects? We train them. They receive a lecture, a workshop, and online materials. Where they upload the video too as well. As Silvia was saying, agency. Agency is so important. And we provide agency to our students when they can upload the content, for example, in YouTube, and they can sort of be very proud of what they create, and they think about other people will benefit from that. That's very powerful. That is a way to motivate our students. How the digital media project will be marked? Of course, we need to develop really good rubrics. The literature doesn't have any good rubrics because they talk about creativity, and creativity is a fluffy term that is really, sometimes it could be really hard to measure, right? Group work is extremely important because if you drop a digital media task to the student and you ask them to do it a video one instead of working in group, it's a bit cruel because video takes time. And you need to take the advantage of students working in groups. Feedback is so important from the content perspective, from the digital media perspective. The students, they need to evaluate and reflect on how was the learning experience, because in educational technology, it's really well known when you don't prompt the students to reflect, they tend to not see the value of the intervention. What could be improved? This is for the students. We teach the students this framework, and now as academics, educators, so we need to talk about the pedagogies behind. Silvia talked about active learning. This is active learning. Students learning by doing. How are we going to train the students, right? So we got online resources. How the video is going to be hosted, and why we need to use an open platform for the students to share the content. The marking scheme, designing rubrics that are really that measures, the quality of the content, but also how the students present that content. Group collaboration, I'm going to talk later on about the tool that we use. Feedback, student reflections, and evaluation. This is a paper if you follow me on Twitter, so I could put a link there. And it's a really short paper because I know, guys, you're very busy. But this is, I think, like a 4 or 5 pages paper, straight to the point. So we were trying to evaluate this framework in higher education. And sort of, we use 5 science subjects from year 2 to 3. Students, they need to produce digital media to showcase their learning. We use the framework to design the task. We use another frameworks as well that I won't have the time to talk about it, but I'm really happy to share all the content that we have. It was a kind of a small sample. Different subjects there. More of the delivery was blended and online, and so on. And the sources of data, it was a survey, a Spark Plus, Google that. This is a really good application for group work that helps really to function the group. I won't have time to go into details, but that really ensures that the students work effectively in group because they peer review each other's contribution. We also use the marks that the students get with the digital media, and we combine all this data with a mixed method approach, and we use triangulation of data to ensure that, because if we just look at the students' perceptions, the students might say, oh, I love this task. But if they love the task, they need to be really, they should achieve really good marks, right? If they say that they love group work, also the Spark Plus should say, yes, that's the case, right? So the survey has a few items, demographics, digital media support, attitude towards technology, understanding of the assignment, knowledge construction, and some open-ended questions. So the items in blue, they were validated using this factor analysis, and the survey is available for you if you would like to get into this research or in your practice, right? Gender, for some reason in Australia, in science, there are more females than male. The age were students up to 29 years old, most of them. And sort of English as a second language, around 20%. So briefly, I want you to look at the green and the light green. Is strongly agree about these statements. So they enjoy using technology for personal and for learning as well. They have a positive attitude towards technology. They enjoy using technology for learning, and so on. What they think about the digital media support that we give it to them. So they love it too. You see the green bars too. And also, understanding of the assignment is also key as well, because many times the students, they get so stressed, so anxious about an assignment because they don't read well the rules, the instructions, or maybe the instructions are not so clear to them. So knowledge construction as well, the students, they thought that they really learned a lot of skills with this digital media project. And the qualitative part about what they like about this, if they had any issue, for example, no issues. Some of them were saying about digital media skills, not understanding of the assignment, a few students only. Then what they like most about the students, creativity, which is great. You know, listen to students, science students talking about creativity is impressive. Teamwork as well, it was 23%, because we know, I don't know how it is in the schools, but I assume it's the same. In higher education, the students, as Sylvia said, hate to work in groups. So, but not in this case. They seem to like working groups, right? So what they didn't like least about the assignments, right? Well, nothing they say. They say group issues, but it was really interesting because when you look at the scores with the group issues, the students, only 4% of the students of the total core have issues with the group, which means that they were learning how to deal with each other, right? Sometimes when we work in group, we are not 100% agree with everyone, but we had an output, and we produced something that the group is proud of that, right? So some student comments. This was pharmacology, by the way. But not all is good, of course, right? So the problem here was that that subject has only 10% to produce digital media. That's a crime as well. If you are talking about producing digital media with your students, I will suggest 20 to 30% at least, because it's hard work. So that's the Spark Plus. I won't have the time to explain that, but I already mentioned about the group work. This Spark Plus application, they give you some numbers that you can evaluate, and you see if the students work in group effectively or not. The marks, they seem to be distributed okay. This is one paper here that is open source, and I will be really happy to share with you guys on Twitter or any other means that you would like to. And the conclusion was that this framework helped the students to engage with this digital media project, and they enjoy creativity, the support that we provide to them, and they get a lot of learning skills out of that. So back again to the album there. So it becomes business as usual now. For the last 2 years, we implement digital media, and it's been really successful. Last year, we were lucky to win a prize, a university prize for teaching practices with digital media. And now we want you, because we would like you to work together in the future. If you would like to assimilate this into your practice, please don't hesitate to contact me. We got a lot of content developed for you, all in English. We can provide it for you to train your students, and we will really open to come again and do some training with teachers about digital media principles, about how to implement the assignments, and so on. So before I finish, I would like to thank you very much, my friends from the University of Stavanger, Atle, Helene, and Björk. I was really lucky that I met them in Valencia last March, and it's been really wonderful. I really appreciate the opportunity that you guys gave me to come here and share a little bit what we're doing. These are my contact details. And I was thinking today in the morning, and I did it today in the morning, right? So usually when you go to educational technology conferences, all is wonderful, right? And I mean, I learned to be a little bit cynical. Believe it or not, I love my technology, right? I learned to be a little bit cynical because I don't think technology is the answer for education. I don't think a good educator will be replaced by technology. I believe that we need to learn to engage education and students with the latest trends that society has to make education relevant. That's a very important point. And talking about uncertainty, this fellow, Sigmund Bauman, one of my favorite philosophers, he died, I think, last year, has a theory about liquid modernity. I love uncertainty. And you know why? Because it makes me try extra hard to break and to raise the bar. I hope that everyone will be the same, especially educators, because we are encouraging the new society that will come after the students. They go to uni and they graduate. And when there are no questions here, but this is a friend of mine in Australia, it's a koala. That's it. Thank you very much for your time.